thinking about it, just to make some analogies and stuff clear. Benito Mussolini should not have been shot and hanged. That was a mistake. If at all possible, he should have been caught, imprisoned, and tried in a court of law for crimes against humanity for his involvement in the Third Reich and his friendship with Adolf Hitler. Justice should always be about making people face the legal and criminal consequences of what they do. No matter who they are, be it a homeless person in the street or the President of the United States. That is what the Constitution was written for. I believe that Donald Trump should be held constitutionally accountable for his Article 2 violations, his crimes against humanity, namely locking kids up in cages and allowing COVID-19 to kill this many Americans and not giving a fuck about it at all. And he doesn't care. It doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect his rich friends. It doesn't affect anyone except poor people and black people and minorities. In other words, the very kind of people that his kind of people want to see exterminated. The message should be, no one is above the law. Period. And that means, if necessary, and voting does not work, we the people should drag his ass the fuck out of that bunker, lock him up, chain him up, whatever it takes, and make him face the music legally. Legally. Not kill him or anything like that, but legally. Because that is how it has to be. It is the right way to handle it. So, drag his ass out in a nonviolent fashion and turn him over to the authorities and let his ass be indicted by the many courts that want a piece of him. And believe me, everybody wants a piece of him legally. So fine, let that be the way it's handled. I don't advocate, I do not communicate, and I do not in any way condone or encourage violence. Got it? Is it clear? These are my lips speaking. These are my words. Do not twist them into anything else. Period. Milosevic was brought down by a nonviolent civil revolution, civil rights revolution. If at all possible, that's the way to go, failing voting. Now, the only acceptable way for Donald Trump to go out other than being dragged out to face the music legally, which is less than ideal, is if he did what Adolf Hitler did in the bunker and shot himself. That's not violence. That's not any action of violence. It's him deciding to end his life and do the whole goddamn world a favor, just like Hitler did, which would be fine, less than ideal, but fine. So basically, Donald Trump has to face the music in such a way that if he does not win in the election in November, and Joe Biden wins the election in November, he probably will still have to be dragged out of his fucking bunker to face justice, because that's just who he is. A self-centered, psychotic, psychopath asshole, stochastic terrorist, crazy motherfucker who don't give a fuck about anyone but himself. Period. He'll do anything to get reelected. He's a crazy son of a bitch. Anyone thinks that this guy will do anything reasonable in his entire life is smoking drugs, high or stupid or moronic, period. I don't know what it's going to take to get it through to, like, most of the world who still don't see 8 stages into the 10 stages of genocide in that it can't happen here. Guess what, people? It's been happening here a long time. Not just starting with Trump, but decades of that shit. Maybe not genocide, but definitely authoritarian rule by the Christian right. Donald Trump is their dream guy, and they won't let go of power easy either. So, hey man, within certain parameters, extremism and the pursuit of liberty is no vice. And being tepid and moderate is no virtue at all. That does not mean kill people. That does not mean go violent. Going violent is just crazy. Period. Self-defense is a whole other thing. But just going crazy rogue, that's bullshit. And Malcolm X believed that he had a right to protect him and his own by any means. And it's true. If someone comes for you with the intent to kill you, you have a right to stop them killing you. I mean, that's reasonable, isn't it? It's self-defense. Self-defense is not the same thing as lynching motherfuckers like the cops do, or like the Klan does, or, and these mysterious suicides. Pfft, bullshit. But I digress. I'm tired of this stupidity. But I'm not suggesting violence as a first option, or even a 20th option, or a 50th option, or even a 100th option. Anytime I've said that if all else fails, I mean if all else fails. If every other avenue of peace and nonviolence and protest and every means possible is exhausted to do things in a nonviolent, peaceful way, are exhausted, if there is no other choice at all except to go down the path of Nazi Germany, where people are being rounded up and stuck in concentration camps and gassed, if nothing else has been done, successfully been able to be done to stop it in a nonviolent, peaceful way, well, yeah, of course I don't suggest, let's all just go along and die. That's stupid. That's crazy. A last stand, not a first step. That's the Trump bullshit. That's the KKK boogaloo bullshit. Let's start a war bullshit. Let's start a racial thing bullshit. Man, trust me, I've seen enough shit on video, not actually any real action. But if anyone that has ever seen any real action in a war, anybody seen actual action in war zones, the last thing they would want is a fucking war zone here, period. As the Civil War would destroy everything. A lot of people will die. Children, women will just die. It's not a game. People die and get hurt and lose friends and family because of war. The Civil War was an ugly thing. Why does anyone want to glorify that? All the latest technology was used in the 1860s to fight a war between ourselves. Brothers against brothers, family against family. Does anyone really want that? To see that at all? Are you kidding me? I've seen the carnage in videos and in movies and read of the history of the troubles of Ireland. And it was bombs. Bombs being fired. Explosives. Terrorism on both sides. And unbelievable amounts of death and destruction. And I'm just amazed it ended without an end of the world. Or it ended at all. I didn't believe it would ever end. And I saw that shit. And that is my ancestry in Ireland. Has anyone seen the Holy War? The war between the Palestinians and the Israelis? They both think they're the chosen people. Chosen by God. It's always been about that. Wars have always been about one person thinking, one race, one religion, thinking they are the chosen ones and the other people aren't, are just godless heathens who must die. Thinking that's thousands of years old. And we have technology that can end the entire world, the entire fucking world, in like half an hour. Taking out all life on Earth. And let me tell you, the polar bears don't deserve to fucking get nuked because of our stupidity. We're a failure as an evolution. As a species, we deserve to go extinct because we suck. We don't evolve, we don't learn, we de-evolve. All I see is people running around, stupid people, wearing these MAGA hats, carrying guns, talking about a civil war. Fuck a civil war. Fuck the South rising again. Fuck all that. The South should never rise again, you treasonous fucks. You don't want a war. You don't. You don't want this. You don't want a race riot. You don't want a civil war. Trust me, you don't. You don't want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing it and pushing it. You need to finally realize Black Lives Matter. You lost the goddamn Civil War. Get over your shit. You suck. This is not a game. Wars don't have winners and losers, just losers. A civil war is a lose-lose for everyone in the country and everyone in the planet. Don't go there, for fuck's sake, don't. Quit pushing it. White supremacist, KKK, Nazi motherfuckers, quit pushing it. Just quit pushing it. I swear to God, quit pushing it. Quit pushing it. I see what's happening, man. I see exactly what'll go down if you guys push it. And it's not something you want to see. It's not something I want to see. Because one of these days, people are going to quit asking for justice and quit asking to be heard and quit asking you to grow the fuck up and shut the fuck up about your Southern heritage bullshit or whatever the fuck your major malfunction is. And you got a major malfunction, period. Like it or not, want to hear it or not, I don't care. You start a civil war or a race war. There's a lot of people that are just so tired of your shit that retribution might happen. And I don't want that to go down because that will lead to a mutually assured destruction of this country and of the world. I don't know why it is so difficult for people to get it through their fucking head that this is serious. And I don't like seeing this. And a gasoline pouring motherfucker trying to start racial shit, fucking Trump, it's going to make it impossible for things to end well or peacefully. If a preacher, preaching jazz, blues, piano player from the South, Daryl Davis, can talk to 250 plus Klansmen, including end up taking the daughter-in-law of one Grand Wizard down the aisle as her father substitute. Anything is possible if we can just talk to each other instead of screaming at each other. And that's all I'm hearing, screaming at each other. And I'm probably just as guilty of it as everyone else. Screaming to be heard. Screaming at a wall because it seems like there's always somebody that makes communication impossible. There is a course, and there's a guy who invented something called nonviolent communication. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I can look it up, but you can too. Google nonviolent communication. It started in Santa Cruz, California, I believe. And I've taken classes in it, and he started something that could get everything from a marriage to countries sit down and talk to each other. What the fuck happened to any kind of diplomacy? We need diplomacy. Put down the fucking guns and talk. Diplomacy. Listen. Actually listen. Actually try to educate yourselves. I've tried to educate myself in all kinds of ways throughout all this stuff because ignorance is not bliss. When willful ignorance is stupidity. Being ignorant is one thing. Being proud of it is another. It's bullshit. You know, as Propaganda said, the band, young, white, young, proud, and stupid, I believe is the name of it. Now, this fascism stuff, this authoritarian fascism stuff is not good at all. And trying to oppress people for wanting basic rights and freedoms it ends very badly. I mean, it ends very, very badly. Somewhere in the process of being oppressed for wanting independence and freedom in Ireland from England, somewhere along the way, and I don't even know exactly how or why, and in the end both sides ended up wrong, but somewhere along the way, the Irish got tired of boots being on their throats and decided, you know what, fuck it, I'll just, start firing at them. I am not certain, but there are definitely cases where the British did some serious terrorism to hold down the Irish, British Empire. Wow. Okay, that's a whole other story, but we're white people are the descendants of British colonial rule. And that led to Gandhi getting rid of the British by way of nonviolence, and the South Africans getting rid of the British by nonviolence, and the Irish ended up getting rid of the British primarily through violence. Not an ideal thing. I mean, seriously, I don't know why people automatically go to, I'm gonna go shoot some people, or automatically assume that if you talk about revolution or you talk about civil or anything like that, the automatic assumption is getting guns and shooting motherfuckers, or automatically assume that if the left decides to exercise their right to bear arms, they're suddenly going to do the same bullshit as the right, or don't fail to understand what the point of some of these amendments really were. And it wasn't about a bunch of gun-toting motherfuckers saying, I have a right to have a gun and carry it and brandish it in your face and be a dick, or go, terrorizing governments. That's actually the opposite of what it's for. It's to help prevent tyranny, not be tyrannical. It's to defend it was the Second and Third Amendment was to keep troops from invading your house, living there, occupying it, to keep them out of your neighborhoods. In case we had, I don't know, a crazy motherfucker like Donald Trump as president. They warned, the founders were smart in that respect. They figured there might be a chance that a Donald Trump would come along and just, take charge of the military and take charge of everything and be like, all you motherfuckers obey me. So that's what the Second Amendment was, to give you the right to bear arms in a well-organized militia. And you don't even have to have guns to do that. You don't have to, the Second Amendment isn't about strictly gun ownership. It's about being organized and being willing to defend your neighborhood, your country, your house from all enemies, foreign and domestic, meaning that if an invading country came in and said, all right, you fuckers, obey, we could be armed and fight them. Because let's face it, we had just kicked out a foreign enemy when the Constitution was written, and it was like, okay, we need to be prepared in case they come back, and they did. In 1812, we kicked them out again, but it was not pretty. War isn't pretty. War isn't like a game. It's not like a video game. It's not like, politics and warfare is the same thing, and neither one of them is like, oh man, my team won 2-0 or whatever. Statistics like that look good on paper, like 0-2 or 0-3, but in reality, there was a lot of loss of life during the Revolutionary War, the 1812 War, the Civil War. There's a lot of American and other people casualties in every war we've ever been in. We're still in Afghanistan 20 years later. It's like, I never thought there'd be a day where a person that was the president of the United States was an enemy of all the American people, or that he potentially could successfully order the military to take us out and maybe even find some people willing to do it. I hope not. The brass so far are like, oh hell no. But I don't know, he has a way of finding people. If he digs deep enough, down the bottom of the well deep enough, he could find somebody. Fuck, Bill Barr. Wow, okay. That kind of shit. Jeff Sessions was a real piece of shit, but he wasn't obedient enough, so he had to find somebody that was even more horrible than Jeff Sessions. Jesus. This guy has no bottom. This guy doesn't give a fuck about anything or anyone except for his own ass. Donald Trump would happily let every single American die just to stay out of jail. How the fuck can you compete with that in a normal kind of way? That's the thing. It's like, sometimes you have to think like a fascist to fight a fascist. But again, it doesn't mean you have to be violent. Study about guerrilla warfare and street warfare, but you don't have to be a terrorist about it. You just have to, or even kill anyone. You just have to be like, okay, how can we defend ourselves against other crazy? That's all it is. We're dealing with crazy. We're dealing with crazy all around, all the time. And maybe I'm a bit paranoid, But Jesus, this is some scary shit. And it gives me nightmares all the time. All the time. And I'm tired of it. I really am. But I really do think violence is not the answer, and killing and death is not the answer. But when, peace and love and understanding only really works when everybody wants to play by those rules. Everybody wants to play by humanitarian rules and being a good person and blah, blah, blah. And everyone wants to play peace and love. But have you ever noticed how the moment authoritarianism or tyrannical dictators or anyone like that come into power, all of a sudden everyone else kind of dies or disappears, or the democracy just goes down the shithole? I mean, it's like, fuck. Fascism is the only ism that cannot get along with anyone, cannot play well with anyone. Fascism and religious extremism, basically the same thing. Man, we're de-evolving fast, and we're probably all going to die in a puff of smoke anyway. I just hope if we go out as a species, we don't take other species out with us. We probably as a species deserve to die out, go extinct like the dinosaurs. Gone. But what we're doing with the planet is inexcusable. Absolutely unforgivable. And it's no wonder that the goddess Mother Earth keeps trying to wipe us out with shit like COVID or SARS or Ebola or any of that stuff. I believe it's Mother Nature's way of saying, all right, you fuckers, fuck off and die. I'm tired of your shit. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, don't mess with Mother Nature, and, karma's a cool bitch. And we all have it coming. It's like, fuck it. So might as well sing the Monty Python song. Always look on the bright side of life. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. And always know the laughs on you. And always look on the bright side of life. And so on. Really, it's just... I got nothing else to add.